Welcome back, you beautiful brave hearts. I'm Dr. Daryl Wolf, and this is The Real Show. And why is it The Real Show? Because it's called Real People, Real Healing. I just want you to understand this is not some kind of show that we talk and we set things up. Okay, Monica's with us today. And the name of the Real People, Real Healing show today is Surgery or Self-Healing. Now, you might think that that's kind of a superficial, flaky thing, but I'm going to tell you, you have to make a decision from some level. You're going to make a decision from your subconscious mind, which was programmed from 0 to 7 to believe in everything that would help corporations out, help the government out, help the medical system out. But what about helping yourself out? You can't help yourself out unless you're going to be in the conscious mind. And whether you believe this or not, I'm not telling you not to go to the medical system. I'm telling you that they're for emergency care. And the reality is that Monica was in an emergency with her. She had actually fractured her wrist. And they told her she had to have surgery. There was no way around this, and that it wouldn't heal if she did. Now, I want to make everything perfectly clear here. They weren't lying. When a person tells you something, they were taught this. You know, you're a liar. No, they weren't lying. And you know what? They're not bad people. This is their belief system. That guess what? They don't believe in the same level of healing that I do. I believe that all healing is self-healing. I don't heal anyone, but I do have strategies. I don't cure anyone, and people can't cure themselves unless they know how to create a perfect day from the moment they rise until they close their eyes, and they repeat it every day. So if you don't have a strategy, then self-healing's never going to work for you because you don't even know it, but it's a self-abuse life that we live. The majority of the population, okay, how are they doing? Well, when we're talking about 86 to 92% of the population, depending where you go, having an autoimmune disease, which means you're attacking yourself on an emotional level first before you actually had the so-called symptoms, and then disease, which means you're out of alignment. That's all it means.
Gotcha.
And the reality is this. You either believe, okay, a lot of people say, you know what, I'm very religious, I have a faith, I have a belief, but the problem is how many people actually believe in self-healing, and how many people actually question a stat? Now, what do I mean by a stat? Well, when somebody comes to you and they go, only 5% of the people with your type of situation, okay, actually recover from this, they're talking about the majority of the population that actually has an autoimmune disease. We're talking about the majority of the population that doesn't know that they're kind of in a little bit of a coma because they don't challenge things, they don't question things. And you know what? They might be the most religious person in the world, but they have no belief in their healing because they're down on their knees and they're begging God, please, and they don't know that it actually is teamwork that makes the dream work. So no matter what, if you call it source energy, you call it God, you call it creator, you call it Jehovah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But do you have belief that you can heal this matter? Okay, that's what really matters, okay? And understand something, you matter, your questions matter, and you should question every professional, every specialist. Listen, in my lifetime, I have told people, you know, I said, yes, you can cure that. But the reality is but the reality is a cure doesn't last. I mean, and what I mean by curing is that you brought up your oxygen levels. You brought up your nutritional levels. You actually used willpower and you went, I got this. But willpower doesn't last. You either believe that you're a self-healing mechanism, a light energy, electrical magnetic being, or you just believe that you're a piece of meat and that, you know what, that you need to give up pieces of yourself, or that you're totally out of control and you need to drug yourself because you're in pain all the time on an emotional or physical level, or just some of the time and you don't want to deal with it. Meanwhile, pain is a GPS. I'm going to tell you something. This happens, and I swear, this is the truth. I get 3 or 4 calls a week, and I'm saying minimum. I don't want to ever exaggerate anything, and you can challenge me on anything you want. My heart is in this. I want everyone to have the most beautiful life ever. This is why I do this. I'm going to do a show on just what I offer for free. And understand something. I offer a money-back guarantee on 95% of what I do. And the reason why I have to do this, do you know why? Because it's different. It's not, okay, the beaten path. It's not what people say and it's not what people do. And I never do that. Well, why would I do what the majority of the population says, even in the natural health business, when it's not even working? I'm not putting these people down. But I'm trying to tell you that in natural health, there are 10 times more natural health practitioners than medical practitioners in the world, and we're only getting sicker. Because if we can't teach people that they have the God-given power to self-heal, when they do, teamwork makes the dream work. When they believe in themselves and they have faith in the invisible and they have faith in themselves. Look it's not intellect we need, it's intelligence. And far as I'm concerned, you know what? Monica made an intelligent decision. And understand something, she had to go against the doctors who wanted to have surgery, the family, and everybody else that's going to do it. Look 99% of the people that you know, that's 99 out of 100, are going to opt to the medical system. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. But I will tell you this much. Very close friend of mine, and he's a doctor, and his wife just fractured her ankle 3 places. And I'm telling you right now, you know how hard it was for me to keep my mouth shut? Because he's into health, his wife is into gardening, but not into health. And this isn't a right or a wrong. Everybody's got different beliefs. Said, Daryl, we're going to surgery, and they've got to fix this. She's going to get 3 plates and a bunch of screws, and holy crap, you know. And I didn't say anything. I just said, look, if there's anything I can do to help, because I already know his wife and I don't want to terrorize him or his wife, and I know his wife is going to make that decision. And you know how hard that is for me? Because I'm not going to, I don't believe I have an ego, because I don't believe you can kill an ego. You'll just be killing part of yourself. And anybody that you say that they have an ego, they have a belief system and they're overshooting their stuff. But the reality is Lori, my partner, he created 3 huge fractures. One was a C fracture, and one was a fracture that actually, you know what it was? It was actually 1/8 of an inch gap. And they said, that's impossible. You can't fill that in. That'll never come back together again. And if she just touches the ground, she'll break that off. And then I don't know what we're going to do for surgery. She's going to have more pins, more screws, more plates. And I said, so, and I played with them. I didn't play with them. I worked with them, and I stayed calm. And they said, we need to rush her up to surgery. But guess what? The surgeons went home. So she said, well, she's got to come back the next day. And I said, so tell me. So let's just talk about this. But I already knew, but I said, let's talk about this. So tell me what's going to happen, because they don't know that I'm in the business. I said, what's going to happen? What are you going to do? Well, and I want to know specifically. Okay, well, this is what's going to happen. With an injury like that, okay, all right, we're looking at anywhere from 9 months, okay, 9 months on the shortest, to actually 16 months for complete healing. And I said, so what are you going to do? Well, we're going to take up and we're going to pull back all the muscle, pull back all the tissue, and then we're going to put 2 plates in, and then we're going to put some screws in, okay? And then we're going to put it back, and then she's going to have to, this will have a healing. It'll take 9 to 12 months. And please don't get me wrong, but I just said, screw this, and that was only because they said a bunch of screws, and I wasn't trying to be nasty. I said, screw this, we're not doing it. And they go, well, it'll never heal. And I said, and we have the actual, so just know this, guys, we have the actual x-rays, so I can prove how bad it was. And yeah, from their point of view, it was never going to heal. And she's a fool, and I'm a bigger fool, because, I just, there's my ego again, right? Well, guess what? Are you ready? 7 months she was walking on it. Like, she was actually walking on it. And how do we do that? Well, I can tell you quickly, because it's not a sales pitch, but we used Merigen, calcium ion therapy, the really only calcium product that I know that works, that'll actually create enough ionization to actually bring the calcium back into the worst situation, bone situation, osteoporosis or fractures or osteopenia. it grabs the calcium from other parts of the body and brings it back, and it makes new calcium, just as if you were young again. So we did that. We did IGF 300,000. We did Ormus Minerals, and we did the Perfect Day Multi. And of course, guess what? But she did the Merigen 4 times a day, okay, to 5 times a day. So we really went on that hard, okay? Now, remember something. This was never going to work. This was going to fail. And guess what? They basically said, if you break off her tibia fibia and you actually come in here and that's broken, just know that we're probably not going to be able to fix it properly and she'll be crippled forever. So I get it. And they weren't coming from, we're trying to create fear because we want to make money for the hospital. They were coming from a place where they were taught that. And yes, that could have happened. The reality is we were going to be mindful and we were going to do the things that we wanted. And we weren't doing it to come up against them. And that's what everybody gets, right? If you make a decision to do it naturally and believe in your own healing, and I'm not telling you for everything and anything, because the medical system has their part. They're great at emergency care. I can't deny that. And I never will. But understand something. That emergency care is only 1 or 2% of even health care. So that's my belief, and I'm allowed to go with that. Now, I'm not putting them down. I don't want to get rid of them. And understand, it's very important that we keep the medical care, because there's a lot of people don't believe in self-healing, don't believe in self-care, and a lot of people that run programs where they'll pick something that's more painful because, it's all about suffering for some people, right? Suffering is the way, whether it's family or we're talking about even some religious beliefs. And I'm not downing religion either. So you got to get that. I'm very open. Believe in anything you want to believe, but just make sure that that you're having a beautiful life and you love your life, and you really, if you could just have unconditional love for yourself, my God, what would that look like? And that you really can heal from things. I would always get 3 different opinions about things. And understand something, I don't tell anyone that don't you go to surgery, don't you take those drugs. I will never do that. We're here. But the reality is this, I will say this much to people. Go ahead, do whatever you want, but after the surgery, you're going to have tons of scar tissue, because surgery causes more scar tissue than anything else. So you might want to see a non-surgical therapist or get some Celsonic to get rid of that scar tissue, because even if you don't have pain afterwards, it's going to be stiff, okay? It's not going to be mobile. It's going to be crystallization, scar tissue formation, and calcification, because the more inflammation, the more trauma from the surgery, you're going to pull calcium from the bones. And that's the truth. So understand, just know that. So surgery causes more scar tissue than anything else, and we know that. That's not a lie. So the reality is that go for your surgery, and you can also take your drugs, but just know your drugs mess up your stomach, so your digestion's going to be off. You'll either end up constipation most of the times or diarrhea. You'll always be hurting your good bacteria, which is in your large intestine with any drug, and that is 85% of your immune system. So you can weigh out all these things, but I will never use my information to make money off of someone. That's the truth. What if we were never fearful about not having enough? I'm not going to ever try to oversell myself, but I will come out of the gate. I will promote self-healing. I will promote the things I do. And those things that I promote the most, I'll give a money-back guarantee. So you can't call me a snake oil salesman. Oh, you could. Go ahead and do it. And I'm going to be doing a 1-a-day tomorrow. And you're gonna understand why I'm talking like I am. I'm never gonna quit standing up for people that don't even know that they're not even standing up for themselves. And why would I do that? Well, most people don't understand who I am or what I want in my life. My God, wherever I go, I try to just, leave smiles or create faith or courage, not hope. Hope don't float with me. I hope I get well. No, that's putting the onus on the doctor or on the practitioner. I don't get people well. I have strategies, I have information. There are people that have been told that it's over, baby. go get your affairs in order. And that person wasn't lying. But you know what? When it comes to your life, why aren't you getting... And if your life was over and you had some specialist professional telling that you only have 2 or 3 weeks to live, why wouldn't you say, listen, sir, you're talking about the majority of the population. What if I don't act like them? What if I believe that healing is going to be almost instantaneous because I'm loved that much by that which we call God? And what if I were to change my personality, the way I drink, I think, I eat? What if I were to get courage and I didn't live in false evidence appearing real, which is fear? And it's, what if you didn't act like the majority or the average person? Like Monica was told, this isn't going to heal. If you don't get surgery, you're going to be in big trouble. The bones are out of place and they're not going to come into place and you're going to have a big problem. Whatever happened to God, whatever happened to faith, and I'm not trying to tell you to do silly things. Well, I have faith in God that my legs are going to grow back, or let's not take this to the ridiculous point, because people will actually take my information and then try to twist it. Did you hear what he said? Hear what he said? No, I didn't say that. Okay? Understand something. A cure can be for a second or a minute or an hour or for a lifetime, but that will depend on the person. If you're using willpower, you're going to run out. If you're using other people to cure you or to uplift you, that will run out as well. But if you're coming from a place of unconditional love and care for yourself, that is your best chance of having a beautiful life. But you have to have a strategy. And then how many people on this planet actually say, I need to find someone where I can get a strategy from the moment I rise until I close my eyes? How about that? People don't do that. I'm going to give an example and then I want to bring Monica on. And here's my example. I got a call this morning. And there's a lady. She has a really bad case of scleroderma. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means scar tissue in the connective tissue. So just know this. They actually call it a disease, and that disease has basically no cure. Now, I'm not telling you there's cures, because I don't believe in cures. But what I'm saying is, to turn that scar tissue back into connective tissue, you would have to then pull that scar tissue apart to allow the blood flow, the lymph, and the energy to come back into it. Now, what if we were able to give this lady a different set of belief systems, that scleroderma is not a disease that's not curable, because people don't get better when they go through certain systems. They just get worse, or they get drugs to null the pain. So I'm not downing it. I mean, there's no wrong and right way. And for most, my way is the wrong way. So you can go that way if you want, but I said, what if we were to help her, give her different beliefs? That it's only scar tissue. And you'll get scar tissue when you age, you'll get scar tissue with a sports injury, a car accident, and you'll get scar tissue from an inflammatory mind, inflammatory diet. If you don't believe me, go into my library and go watch the masterclass, which is free, Reverse the Irreversible, and then come on and challenge me if you want. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. So the reality is, what if we changed her beliefs that there wasn't any answers? And the people that you're talking to aren't lying. They don't have other answers. I just have another way. I work a different way, because with Wolf Non-Surgical, with Cellsonic, Cardio MedBed, nutraceuticals, a change in diet, a change in mind, drinking the highest vibrational structured water. I'm serious. You don't think these things matter? So what if we were to give somebody just, here you go. We're going to light you up. We're going to energize your tissues. We're going to win. If that person believes in that, and they're going to do it, and they're going to stick with it. And I understand that, maybe only 2-3% of the population will ever buy into my theory. But my theory dates back for hundreds of years, thousands of years, not hundreds, but thousands. And the reality is that we're so easy to market to. So understand something. It's not natural against medical. This is not a war, and it's not a fight, and I'm not looking to be right. I am just giving a different opportunity to people, and then they can choose. But the reality is the opportunity that I offer is one where you have to take personal action for yourself and do your work. If you're looking to not be trained on, or to train yourself on how to love and care for yourself, then guess what? Having the drug care system, having the surgery out there is a very important thing to make your life more comfortable. So I just need you to understand it's not us or them. You could even decide to go the medical route and then do the natural thing too. Why wouldn't you? They say you can't ride two horses. Well, you know, this horse of natural is never ever going to feed what they do. Just know this, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Rumble. If you want to have any questions, you can bring your questions in as Monica's talking, and when we're done, if you've got questions for Monica or myself, we'll answer them. But just know this, everyone. I am not at war with the medical system. I am not at war with any other system. I think it's great that we have choices. And whether you choose them or me is not a right or a wrong. It's just a choice. I'm here for people that want to be able to access all of it. Because the bottom line is we just want to be happier. We want to love our life more. That's all it is. Monica, what do you think?
Hi, Dr. Darrell. Hello, everybody. I think it's the truth, and what I love that I got from listening to today is neither of the routes is right or wrong. We have to choose what is right for us, and I think that's such a beautiful distinction because we're not here to separate. We're here to offer everybody a choice, whether you want to be dependent or independent. Just make your choice and go with it, and own it, one way or another.
If it's okay with you, tell your story and understand something, everyone. He's not telling the story to sell you to me. He's not telling you a story to sell you on her. He's telling you a story of a Braveheart hero. You know, the reality is you can always opt for surgery. You can always opt to take drugs. You know, the things that I offer aren't going to do you any harm. But the reality is we're going to be told that they are harmful, but how are they? How is nutraceuticals harmful? How is Cellsonic, CardioMedBed? How is anything harmful? And people say, you know, Darrell, you know, you're kind of, you know, oh my God, he's dangerous. Well, I'm dangerous because I test belief system. I'm not telling you to walk away from any belief system that you run your life on. Just make sure that you are calming down, connected to your breath, and you're making choices that do honor you, that do honor you. You don't do what I want you to do. You don't give me your money. You don't give me your body. You take a look at what I have. And then you make a decision. Oh, my gosh. Let's give people choices. Shouldn't people have choices, or should they only have one way to go? Monica?
Absolutely. The most important thing is to know that whatever choice you make, you made it for you for your reasons. And I think
nobody needs regrets, right? And understand something. I'm not telling people, if you're in a life-threatening situation, you need to make choices quickly. If you're not in a life-threatening situation, calm yourself down and just stay peaceful and even pray, meditate. You know, just stay quiet, because in chaos, we can make the wrong decisions, and I hope you make the right ones if you have chaos going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just gonna really quickly circle back to what happened with me. This is the very first time I had an injury, and I was pretty active before. And it was just a misstep on black ice, and it was really, really late, midnight, like after midnight. And I stepped on a piece of black ice and I went down and I just heard, popcorn. And I looked down, I'm like, oh my God, not my hand. And I was really scared. I want to just emphasize that it was dark. It was, middle of the night. Nobody was available to help me. I was literally sitting outside, with my hand looking like it was a piece of something. And all I had was myself. And it was a really profound moment because I had to decide in that moment, all by myself, who I wanted to be in that situation and what outcome I wanted. And it was such a profound moment because and I was going, I was under a lot of stress at the time. So it could have been really easy to stay in that afraid moment, looking at my hand, not recognizing it, as opposed to saying, okay, what can I do? And I'm just gonna say it as I experienced it, is the voice, that silent voice inside of me guided me to tap in. What would a higher version of me do? Who would she be in? And I literally had to drive myself into ER. I was in a lot of pain, and they put my wrist back in. They put me to sleep, so they put the wrist back in place. And then the next day, I had to go to the fracture clinic where they put me in a proper cast, and they highly recommend. Actually, the first time they didn't, but the week after when I went back, they said the bones were not moving the way they would have liked them to move, and they said, I should have surgery. And they started, like really using that language of pressure slash fear. And even though I knew in my heart that I trusted my hand, actually going back to the time of the injury and the ER situation, I prayed. And that's what I believe in, the power of prayer. And I believe that the energies that created my body were going to be the ones that were gonna support my healing. And I just surrendered while I was waiting for the whole thing there. And I worked on my breath. I worked on just giving over control and fear and finding that place where I was in peace, because I knew that no matter what was going to happen, me being in that peace was the most important place. And from there, I would know what to do. So, fast forward 1 week after this happened, I was told that, the bones didn't look like they were going to heal on their own as well as they could if there were surgery. And I want to just emphasize that when I heard the option of surgery, I literally was present in my body, and I wanted to feel in my body where that idea set, how my body would resonate to that, as opposed to me going with my original decision, which was it's going to heal in the cast and whatever, concealing with you and or knowing, because I'm very body aware as well, but I wanted to see what the two options would feel in my body. The second option, where I felt that, hey, this is that we're gonna do this, felt so peaceful. The other one was like, like it didn't even have resonance. Not one cell in my body said, hey, consider that. But I do want to mention that the more fear I was imposed upon, even my strong stance started getting afraid. But still, I didn't want it. I was just really struggling with being afraid and helpless. And that's probably an old programming, and I'm open to, your intake on that. But I just said, no, thank you so much. And I went home. And this went on for the first 2 weeks, because the way it is, for the first 2 weeks, they monitor you every week. You go in for an appointment. And then after the third week, they give you 3 weeks off from going in, and then they take the cast off, and so on and so on. And when I went back on the second week, I was scared even more, saying, hey, it's almost too late now. You can go for a second opinion. And if you come back, I can operate on you tomorrow. Like, the surgery was so easily available, and nobody even entertained my choice that I communicated really clearly that I don't want to have surgery. But they were really, really, really only focusing on and continued telling me that I should have surgery and that I could do the surgery the next day. I could, it was just so readily available. But still, my body just said no. And I was so in peace with that notion that I would be able to take care of it naturally with the right help. And one of the things that was really interesting for me and really strange is they were trying to tell, because I'm really athletic, they were trying to tell me that me having a piece of metal implanted into my hand and several screws would be more advantageous for my recovery physiologically, and it would actually have lesser chance for arthritis to ever be in my body. And it just didn't make sense to me that, hey, even if the bones don't grow back, straight and perfect as they were before, I can't imagine having, I could be wrong. And again, this is something that's also important. I said I'm willing to be Monica wrong, as opposed to being wrong by someone else whose choice I agreed to out of fear, if that makes sense. So it didn't make sense to me that, first of all, I knew, learning from you so much, that the stiffness, which I do have some, so we're gonna have to work on that, that the stiffness I knew that we could work on that, we could get that out with, the movements and the Sasonic, and, you're gonna tell me about the non-surgical and all that, and, just dietary and lifestyle habits. I knew that I could get, if anything were to happen, we could take care of it. It didn't make sense to me that a piece of metal and some screws would would be a more healthy choice for me moving forward than not have that in there. So that, to me, that still doesn't make sense. But that's what I opted out to, and that's what I did. And so while I had cast in my, on my arm for like 6 weeks, 7, I just followed what my body kind of nudged me to do. So I was doing, my fingers were completely, fully functional. I noticed it so many times as I decided to, contain the healing in my own power, that some days I noticed that I was, just grabbing a little bag or opening the car door. And then I just caught myself after. I'm like, oh, wait, like I'm not supposed to be able to do this, yet my body's doing it. So the more of that happened, I just knew I made the right choice. And one of the coolest things was, because, I was trying to brush my hair with one hand. It was really hard at first. And it was, I think, 4 weeks into everything, I just had this nudge from my body again to say, hey, put some plastic over that cast and go wash your hair. And guess what? It was perfectly happening. So the reason I'm going into all this is because I actually am very thankful for ER the night of the accident, because they were able to locate the pieces back in place, put a temporary cast on, and put me in place. So for that,
Thanks.
yeah, like you said, yeah. But the rest has been my journey, and it's been incredible to witness the body doing what it knows to do best.
Monica, I just want to thank you for actually taking the time, because guess what? They do that best. Without them, you wouldn't have had self-healing. Without them, there was no self-healing.
Yeah, because
wouldn't it be magical if the medical system embraced us? And it's not that the medical system will never brace us. And that we're not talking about the doctors and the nurses. We're talking about the FDA, Health Protection Branch, whatever you want to call it in any country. And just know this, I'm going to play a video today. Rafa, today when we're done, can you put the video on at the end of our show, the one about babies and the FDA? Remember the one about babies and the FDA? Okay, well, I will put it on then. I'll put it on. After the show, I'm going to put it on, everyone. And I'm going to show you something. The FDA is not there to protect people. And that's it. That's not a lie. It's not. It's not there to protect people. The Health Protection Branch in Canada is not there to protect people. Oh my God. Seriously? But the majority of the population believes that. Remember something. If something has a government stamp, most people still fall for it. Most people actually believe that the government's working for them, and they actually work for an internal government and never worked for the people. And I'm not trying to, I am not a protester. Okay, I don't want to protest against anything because I'm not going to change anything except for myself. And then what I do for myself, I just want to share to the rest of the world because there is a choice out there. Right, Monica?
Absolutely. And you know what I was just thinking after you started talking when I finished my stories? Imagine if we could work together with the medical system. We could create miracles.
Yes, we could. Yes, we could. And guess what? The only way that the planet will never rise to its greatness is division. It's always about division. It's just a few families. People know I talk about it. I don't want to mention. I want to keep going into it, but it's a few families that have been strategizing for hundreds of thousands of years, and they've nailed it. And we can't even strategize a perfect day for ourselves. So I'm not putting us down. I'm just trying to tell everyone you've been programmed, and this is generational programming. And the reality for Monica to actually step outside of that and go, you know what? My higher self says I'm going to heal. And I don't want people to take this show and go ridiculous and not go to surgery or not do things that are life-threatening or they're beyond the actual scope of your body to handle. And please, that's not what this is about. Don't take this show wrong.
Exactly. And I wanna also say that I am a very, very, very active and vivid self-educator about health and everything. So I've done a tremendous amount of research right after, I was casted to just understand what's the function of the hand, what's going on with the bones, I have educated myself and I made the decision for myself.
And understand something, everyone. I just want to say this. And all I did, I was there for moral and nutritional support, but she made her own decisions. And guess what? That's the only clients, patients I want. And you know what? I have a personal treatment and training going on right now. And I keep telling this beautiful lady, I'm going to offer things to you like a menu that I have. You must pick from there. If I have to tell you what to do, it is not good. You need to start coming from your logical mind and making logical decisions. This is the only way I want to work and my practitioners to work. I don't want anybody forcing anything on anyone. And that's the God's truth. So remember that. Do not let anybody push you, whether it's natural, medical. Just breathe, stay connected to your breath, and go, no. Give me time. Let me decide for myself and understand something. Listen, the gentleman I told you that is actually a doctor and his wife actually fractured her ankle. I know that with our nutraceuticals and with what we know how to do, because I took a look at the situation, we could have reversed it. And all I would have done was caused him to try to sell it to his wife. And that is not my relationship. That is not what that relationship is about, that I have something better. I have another choice. But I wasn't even going to give him that choice because if you listen to people when they talk, you can tell that if it was him, he probably wouldn't have done it, but it was his wife and he was honoring her. And we need to honor people for their choices. If it's not life-threatening, and the surgery is not life-threatening, it's just another way that she decided to go. If it was my family, I can step in because it's more personal. And nobody can tell me that I'm unprofessional because it's my family. So understand that. So outside of that realm, I'm not going to do that. But you know what? I'm going to tell you something. The best example is you becoming what you want everyone else to be. And that is it. And it's better to keep your mouth shut and recycle the energy at holding the line for yourself and telling everybody else what they should do. What do you think, Monica?
I think that's probably the most important thing is to hold the line for yourself.
Yeah.
And just, make your decision and stay in that decision. So, yeah.
Yeah, and guess what? That's the hardest part of all. And when your family say, no, surgery, antibiotics or whatever, or painkillers or this or that, remember something. Do not, do not stay calm, breathe, allow them to voice their opinion, and just go, I am not holding you responsible. But
Yeah,
and I'm being responsible, believe it or not. So now, if something happened, like this is how I do it with my family or people. I used to, but now they don't question me. But I would say this: if this happened to you, or you were in this situation, right? I would say if you were in this situation and you decided that you wanted to heal naturally, I would not say a word. So the reality is, it's just your belief system is different. I'm not in a life-threatening situation, and your belief system is different, and you want to have your belief system
honored.
And the reality is it's my body, and I'm going to honor the belief of doing it naturally, or I'm going to honor the belief that I need surgery and I don't believe it will heal naturally. So the reality is we have to allow each person to actually go with their belief systems, unless it's your family and they are in a life-threatening situation or they're putting themselves in jeopardy. Then you would want to take the floor and roar your opinion and then back off.
Yeah.
That's it.
And in those situations also, or even here, you have to also take the responsibility, or you have to understand that there might not, you have to watch sometimes people that you love make the wrong choices for them.
That's
if
right.
they don't want your help. And you
That's
have to,
right.
and I've had to do that. And it's one of the hardest things to do, watching a loved one going, taking the wrong route.
Well, no, a different route. And also, Monica, this is why, guess what? We don't tell people what to do, because when it's time, it will be crying wolf. And it's like we always tell them what to do. So we should not tell people what to do. We need to live it and be it. And then save that for the ace in the hole if it is a dangerous situation that somebody is going into, and they will listen to you, because you can't, you know what? And this is what people do. This is what I used to do all the time, is tell people that I knew better. I don't know better.
Exactly. And, even just knowing ourselves when we made a wrong decision per se, or a different decision, somebody came back and said, I told you so. In a moment of realization, that's not what you need to hear. In a moment of realization, you need support and uplift and healing. And I think these are the lessons that I think are so important, that, stay firm in what you want, but be kind and respectful, because everybody has a journey. I'm not on your journey, you're not on mine, but we can, we can support one another. And a lot of the times, and here's something that also I am learning is so important, is these are my choices. I want to grow my conviction deep in my choices. And that's no matter what happens around me. And if I am trusting this and honoring that I'm doing right by what I believe in, the people that resonate with it, even if they're afraid to agree now for their reasons, they'll come back and they'll ask you how. It's like your responsibility is to become the most healed and authentic version in your purpose. For me, for you, for all of us. And when we can do that, we will help people heal in their choices as well, I think.
Well, I think you're thinking right. And if it's okay, we're going to switch a little bit here.
Yeah. But
hello, Doc. Go ahead, love.
I wanted to ask you, we were talking yesterday about the shot glass, and at this point, I would love to see, I don't know if you want to do it privately or here, like what would be my next level of treatment.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll grab a shot glass and I'll show you what I need you to do. Okay, but can I do it in a minute?
Of course.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to answer a question here for a lovely lady, okay? Sure. Hello, Dr. Wolf. My son has an earache. I am not sure it's infected. What would you recommend? Thank you so much for everything. You can't have an earache unless it's infected. You have infection before you have inflammation. And once you have inflammation, you have pain. And when that pain is called an earache. And reality is you don't have an earache unless you have a blockage. The blockage can be mucus, calcification, crystallization, or scar tissue formation, or just swelling where extra water comes to the area to dilute and bring down the inflammation so it doesn't cause so much scar tissue formation and calcification to help to put the fire out. So this is what you do. If your son will lay there, you get your son to lay on his side, and then what you do, let me see if it's here. Yeah. And the first thing you do is you get infinite iodine, okay? Now, infinite iodine, do your own homework, but we have the only non-toxic iodine on the planet, and it is in a nano form. And this iodine is used in the eyes, the ears, the mouth. It's used for vaginal infusions. It does a lot. And we're not going to go into that, but if everybody just goes to the Perfect Day Guide, as you see right here, this is called a Perfect Day Guide, and you can download it. Do you want to show them, Rafa? You can download the Perfect Day Guide at pdgfree.com. So go to pdgfree.com and download it. It's free. It's free. And then for those of you who want a hard copy, which I just showed you, it's $95 delivered to your door. Okay? All right, let's get back to this though. So you take the infinite iodine and just make a little pool of it, you know, about 1/4 of an inch in the ear. And all you got to do is let it soak. Let it soak for 5 minutes. I promise you, if you do that, you're going to actually reduce the earache right away. Now you can do that soak. It's just a little bit of iodine. It's not going to cost you hardly anything. And it has to be the infinite. I wouldn't be trying other iodines, but you know, I'm just letting you know. And I would be doing it. Can you put her on mute for a minute, please, so that I stay on, so I can show things? Thank you. When I'm talking, thank you. So what you do is you put the infinite iodine in, and then you put a hot, wet pack. Bring it out, but have it hot, not burning, and you put it in between warm and hot on here to bring in the blood circulation, and you leave it there for 5 minutes. After you do that, okay, you're gonna love this. This is if you really want to knock this thing out of the park. Then what you do is you put about 8 to 12 drops of Bright Eyes, the same fulvic that you put in your eyes if you want to reverse skin infection, irritation, and what they call disease. To help, because all eye problems are from infection and inflammation, just like the ear. And the reality is, or blue light poisoning. So you're going to put about 8 to 12 drops, which again will cost you about, I don't know, maybe about 4 cents. And then you're going to put Bright Eyes fulvic drops in the ear. But so you're going to drain the iodine after 5 minutes, put those drops into the ear, and then right behind it, you put in silver bullet gel, and you fill up the ear with silver bullet gel, and you put the hot pack, and you lay there for 20 minutes, and guess what? Don't be surprised if the earache's gone. Now, I would do that if I had a bad earache. I would be doing the infinite iodine. Maybe I would do that maybe 6 times that day, or, you know, whatever you can, because remember, the more inflamed it is, the more painful it is, the more inflammation there is, the more infection there is. So if you've got a 10-foot hole, I want to build you a 10-foot ladder, not a 2-foot ladder, and you go, well, it worked for a few minutes. Understand, with natural health, it's not like taking a drug, 1 pill and you have a thrill. With natural health, the more inflammation, inflame, you want to put that fire out, so you might have to repeat it. So I would do that 3 to 6 times, what I just told you, and you'll knock it out of the park. Tomorrow, maybe do it just 3 times. Then see how you feel the next day. And then I would do it for another maybe week. I would do it once. Why? Because we're not after getting just rid of the inflammation. We want to go in and have tissue integrity back and totally heal it. Vibration is everything. So, you know, what people will do is, oh, I feel better already. And then they stop. You know how they tell you that if you take antibiotics, you want to do it for 10 days? Well, let's just say if we had a problem, we'd want to do it for 10 days. But what I would want is I'd want you to do something for at least 5 days after you've had no pain, because we need tissue healing and bring up that integrity. So do the routine like that. And if the person's on the go, then I'd say you can't put the silver bullet gel in there on the go, but you can keep the Bright Eyes fulvic in your pocket, and you can either put it in a spray bottle or have it in an eyedropper. And throughout the day at work, just put in 1 to 2 drops in each side. Keep it over here. Grab the ear each time when you put something in, and grab the ear and go 5 times around this way, 5 times around that way, and lean on the side, and you'll get it deep. And if you only put 1 or 2 drops, you're not going to spill liquid on you, and you can go right back to work. And I promise you, you're going to heal it. And understand something. If your son is a cheese, dairy, yogurt person, understand something. Just know this, for babies and young children, that is 95% of all earaches is dairy. Because whether you want to believe it or not, we looked out at the field and we went, oh my God, we got, you're the only species that actually still, need the nipple after we're weaned. And after you're weaned from your mother's milk, you no longer have the enzymes to digest milk, human or mammal milk, let's call it mammal milk, after 7 to 10 days. And because dairy, whether you want to believe this or not, is 40 times, the molecule is 40 times bigger than mother's milk, everybody has inflammation from dairy, whether you like it or not. So the reality, and you may not feel it, but you have inflammation. We weren't meant to eat cow's milk. It's just the biggest udders out in the field, and that's where we can make the most money and make the most milk. Now, so the reality is get that person off of milk, get them off of cheese, get them off of dairy, and just know that cheese is concentrated milk, so that's even going to be worse. And there is no such thing as good yogurt made out of cow's milk. There's no such thing, and it's dead bacteria anyways. Isn't that a lot of fun? So if you want to do yogurt, please look at doing coconut yogurt. It's probably the best, and make sure there's not more than 3 ingredients in there. That would be really cool. Okay, there you go. And the other thing that I'm just going to say is that he can lightly clap with his hand around the area just to increase the circulation. And he might even have a little bit of lymph node swelling. Have him clap here. And then if you have a product called Immunity or Pain Away Essential Oil or Muscle Restore, have him put essential oils here around the jaw, just behind the jaw and on the lymph node area, because if you've got ear infection, you might have also lymph node involvement. Okay? That's it. Monica, go right ahead.
Okay. So my question was to you, now that we're, ready to heal this completely, what are your instructions to me? And you gave me, where did you go? You gave me, yesterday I told you that I was starting to use it, exercising, and you said not to do it. And I'd love to, kind of get your, thoughts.
I didn't say don't do it. I said,
you said too much.
I said, too much. Monica, there's a problem about Monica, you're an overachiever, okay? And understand something. And it's one of your greatest strengths, but it can be an Achilles heel.
Yeah.
And you know that, and I'm not taking it away. So your strength can also be your weakness when you're not unleashing that power at the right time. So all I was saying is take it to the form of resistance and make sure that you feel the stiffness and you have no pain. And the reality is there's absolutely, take a look now. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing this and taking your fingers and moving it back. But guess what? Do you know what the most smartest thing to do? What would you do? We would go quickly. I would put your fingers right here and I would just breathe the Lionheart breath. Watch. And when I breathe out, I pull down a little bit. You see?
Okay.
And you might do that 3 or 4 times. And remember, you're not creating any pain. But guess what, Monica? Every time you do a Lionheart breath, this is going to move another 1/16 of an inch lower. And you did not rip anything. You put the breath of life into the wrist. So you close your eyes and you focus on that.
Exactly.
Now, the other thing you can do is you grab you see my thumb and my finger? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in between right here. See the wrist? Now watch this. Watch mine. Because get a close-up, please.
I'm going to watch you on my computer so I can see you better on a bigger screen. I see you.
Okay, now. Okay, so watch. See this? I'm going to take, okay, look at this. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to grab right in between the joint. Now watch me, because this is called joint therapy. Now watch, okay? And I'm going to move it like this. Just keep your finger, no, you're doing the whole arm. Keep your fingers in between and just go like this. Look at this. Move the wrist like this. And while you're moving the wrist up and down very slowly, put the finger and the thumb in between and stretch the wrist. Feel it? Go slower. Go slower. Move it slower. And then as you're going up and down, squeeze the wrist and move up and down. Look. See? You feel it? Okay, now, the other thing you're going to do is watch me. I'm going to put my knee up. Okay, so my knee's up. Can we get a shot of my, okay, it's great. Okay, you'll have to be quiet if you...
Should I show my knee too on camera? And I'm just joking.
Well, sure. No, because they'll want to look at yours, not mine. Okay? And it's all about me right now.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm only putting my knee here because I want to show this. Get your elbow. Come on. Now go right where the wrist is. And you're not going in to break anything. Just close your eyes now. Close your eyes and move on a 45-degree angle. Close your eyes and just move it a little bit in between, in there. Now, do you feel the crunchies? Feel the crunchies?
Yes.
Now come and just not big movements. You're doing circles. Don't do circles. Watch me.
Okay.
Give me a close-up, everybody. Watch me. Don't do it. Okay, I am only moving, if you knew that, it's only a quarter of an inch. It looks bigger than it is. And I'm in between my wrists. Now, and what I'm doing is, look at me. Keep looking at me. Don't do it. Drop your arm. I need your total focus. Okay, so watch this. You see how I'm going on a 45-degree angle across the wrist. I'm not going like this, like sawing my wrist in half. I'm on a 45-degree angle with my elbow, because that's how you open things up. Okay?
Got it.
Now I'm coming in and you can feel the crunchies. Now look at, I feel one. So I'm going to stay there, close my eyes, and you can feel the cords and you can feel the crunchies. Let me tell you, if you were to do that and do just where the wrist is, then flip it over and then do the other side of the wrist, same way, and then go into the pad of the hand and do that, and into the thumb pad. Then you go in between your fingers and you do here and you do here. Guess what? I'm going to tell you, and you're not going to believe this, but that hand is going to be healthier and feel lighter and be stronger than the other one that had nothing go on with it. Now, hold on. You can also do the same thing, and it comes across differently. You see this shot glass? You see the shot glass?
Yes, I see it.
Okay.
I see it.
Okay, so I need you guys to do close-ups. Do a close-up of the shot glass so everybody can see it. Yeah. All right? So now you see the bottom edge of the shot glass? Please keep it on me. I need a close-up. Okay, so what I need you to do, Carla, I need you to come very close to the glass. Can you do that? Only the glass is on the picture. Okay, good, there we go. Now, do you guys see this bottom edge here? Now, what if I took it and I just bent it over? Look at this. That's about a 45-degree angle. Now, if I took that and I left it on a 45-degree angle, now look at it, I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to put the shot glass in like this. Look at this. Then I'm going to come here to my wrist. Now can we... It's not... There. Okay. So now I'm going to come to the wrist part and look at this. I'm going to do the same thing and I'm going to go in between the wrist. You can't do damage. Just close your eyes and listen. I can feel, you can feel crystals. You can feel how it gets full of scar tissue. You know, most people have a frozen wrist. Anybody could do this, and if you never want to have a wrist problem, you do it. You know, the thing is we don't look after our joints, and our joints are like river bends, and they pick up crystallization, calcification, scar tissue formation more than any other place in the body. That's why, guess what? You guys all do this. You know, you take a look at a person, you go, oh, you must be around 30 years old, you must be 40 years old, you must be 50 years old, by the stiffness of the person, how stiff they are.
Exactly.
And guess what? Do you want me to show you that I have the flexibility, okay? I have the flexibility of a 30-year-old health person. And you know, if you don't have a scar tissue, you don't have issue. If you don't have calcification in your joints, then you don't have the rust like in a hinge that won't open. Listen, you can have vitality and youth for the rest of your life. I know, Monica, you're going to do this because you love yourself enough. So we can do the same routine. We're going to go in here and do the wrist here, but also you can come back from the wrist about 1.5 inches. And look at this, look at the action. And I'm coming here with the bottle, and I'm actually, do that. Feel the crunchies. You can hear it. I can hear it from my, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know what, if you're watching TV, you're doing Netflix, you're just laying there, you know, doing something, you know, if you're on a trip in the car, you're on the bus, on the plane, have the shot glass. Instead of taking a shot, do shot therapy. I call it one-shot therapy. And you can come in here and you'll feel the crunchies breaking up. Look it, I'm going to tell you something. When I was 12 years old, I know it's going to be hard to believe, and people go, no way. I fell off, okay, a 25-foot roof. I was only 12, thank God, I would have broke everything. I dislocated both my ankles. So anyways, my father didn't send me anywhere. He said, okay, we'll get you crutches. So my ankles were dislocated for probably about 3 to 4 months until my mother came to see me and said, what's wrong with you? So, so I went to a chiropractor and they helped to adjust them. But the reality is this, until I came up with Wolf Non-Surgical, I had a problem with both my ankles. So when I came up with Wolf Non-Surgical, so when I'm on a plane now, because everybody has an Achilles heel, there's somewhere in your body where there's a joint that gives you trouble all the time. Just remember something, everybody. Guess what? That joint, that problem, that niggles at you, and it keeps coming back, that's going to put you in the nursing home. That's going to put you in hospice. You got to understand that. The only reason why the person has a cane to a walker to a wheelchair is because of their joints. I mean, you want to ask people, why are you in a wheelchair? And most of them today are in a wheelchair, not because of a car accident or sports injury, because of chronic health care fails them. They're chronically full of scar tissue and calcification, and we can turn that around. And just so you know this is a little thing going. You know, I actually have no, I'll talk about that later. So the reality is, if I'm wrong, then tell me I'm wrong. But guess what? You could almost get run over by an electric wheelchair today if you go to the mall around 2 o'clock.
Seriously.
And the reality is, okay, when I was younger, you would see 1 or 2 canes, and they were usually somebody from war time, I'm not kidding, or they were in their 80s or 90s, and they had an accident. All right, and that was the God's truth. And I'm not lying. Go figure it out, everyone. If you don't like what I talk about, then at least do the research so that maybe you can like me a little more. But the reality is you know what? If I should have got into the cane business, the walker business, the wheelchair business, I'd be rich today because everybody has victimitis, and that's the only virus. Now, so you're going to get in there, and what I would do when I go on a trip, I have a shot glass in my travel bag. And guess what I do? And if I don't have it, I use the bottom of an essential oil bottle, and I always carry immunity to put on my throat, and it drops in my mouth when I travel, okay? Because I just don't know what they're spraying, okay, and what's going on. So the reality is, I will take the bottom of that bottle or this shot glass, and believe it or not, I totally revitalize my ankles. I'll spend on a plane 30 to 40 minutes on one ankle, and I do the horseshoe. You know the main joint where you lift and put your foot down, and it's the main joint of the foot, right? From the leg to the foot.
Exactly.
So the reality is guess what? If you were to go in there and spend 40 minutes every direction and just go around your ankle like that, you know what? You don't have to pay me $1,000, but you would have. You would have. There's no chiropractor, there's nobody out there that could have done what you did unless you went to a non-surgical therapist that used their elbow and they go in there and they pull that all apart. And do you know why older people trip? Because guess what? They don't have the range of motion or the flexibility in their ankle joint anymore. And that is the God's truth. And I'm telling you right now, if I could get at every elderly person's ankle, they wouldn't be flipping and flopping and dropping. So the reality is we're going to do the same thing that we were going to do with our elbow, love. And we're going to go in here. We'll start behind about 1.5 inches. Can I get a close-up, please? 1.5 inches back here. And I'm going to just see what I'm doing. And when I come forward with the shot glass, that's when I'm going in and pulling apart. And you can go up and down in line with the arm, but then you've got to go on an angle this way and then go on an angle this way. And you can also come back this way. So do you see what I did? Did you get that? There's 4 moves. I went straight down. I went on an angle, okay, coming towards me. I went an angle away from me. And then I went back this way. Oh my gosh. And you'll feel it. And just see how I go. Look at, I'm exaggerating. See how I'm going, and then I run it along. And you'll find, if you find a chunk, you'll just stay there and you'll just keep working with it. And between you creating a little bit of inflammation, you're going to get rid of scar tissue formation and crystallization, and you're just going to go, oh my God. So once we do that, then we come into the wrist this way. We come directly up. We do the same 4 moves. And come into the wrist. Then we're going to go in between what we call the lymph channels. So in between my baby finger and the next finger, I'm going to go in what we call the lymph channels, and I'll clean those out. And I'll go all the way along, and then I'll really work around the thumb, and I will really not just go in between the channels, I'll go right up against the thumb and really clean that up, because the thumbs are what people have a lot of trouble with. Now, believe it or not, everybody with arthritis, I had a lady, and you can see this, it's in my personal treatment and training, and I show it. She had a knuckle this big. Did you see it? And guess what?
Like a cherry size.
I took that knuckle down in probably 15 minutes to a normal knuckle. And guess what? She thought, everybody said, well, you got to live with it. You got to live with it, or you're going to have to get surgery at some point. And understand something. Every time that you have an issue in your tissue and you have negative emotion, it has to be stored. Guess where it gets stored? In the part where you're in the tissues you're complaining about. And it's going to get bigger and bigger. People don't realize that a tumor actually stores the emotional and the physical toxins and poisons that would have killed you already if you didn't have the tumor. And people are just going, BS. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter if they do or not. I already know. How is it that we can work on a fibroid tumor? I'm serious. Anybody got a fibroid tumor the size of an orange and want me to work on it? I would do it live for you. I'll do Cellsonic and Wolf Non-Surgical, and I'll prove that at a minimum, we could bring it down to about 30%. And if it's calcified, then we're going to bring it down with the eye. Visually, you'll see it by 10 to 20% minimum. And that's the truth. Now, will that come back? I don't know. Are you going to change your personality? Are you going to change the way you drink, think, and eat? Are you going to look at disease differently? That it's just a message of love coming from your body telling you're out of alignment and you've never listened. So, of course, it's going to get worse. It's going to get bigger, and it's going to keep on knocking down your door until it breaks your life wide open. Okay. So then after you do that, you're going to do the same thing, the same routine we did on this side. And if you have problems with any joint, you're going to go in here. Look at, close up, please. Thank you. Thanks, Carla. And you're going to go in there and you're going to do the same thing. Look at this. I'm going to go in there and work on that joint every which way with the edge of my bottle. And guess what? Hallelujah, I'm cured. Well, you won't be cured unless you change to a perfect day and actually get rid of the emotional and the physical diet that you were doing that caused it in the first place. So if you don't want to change your personality, you're not going to change your reality. And if you're not going to do that, then you better keep the shot glass out, because it's just going to keep on coming back. So there are no cures. There's a change of personality that can change your reality. And if you had a perfect day, and it really was a perfect day on an emotional and physical level, nutritional level, why would you get sick? And you know, people can take this, and this is why I have really pissed off a TV station and a government, and they say they're coming for me. I had a phone call this morning that they're coming again. They're coming again, and they're going to do a show on me. And the reality is because what am I telling people? I'm saying, take your life back. Live the life that you were promised. Get away from the systems that are feeding off of you, and understand something, okay? The majority of the population is never going to believe in me, and I get it. But I'm not here for them. I'm here for the lions that are ready to roar. That's all. That's all. Anyways, let's get back to this. So now you're going to do the same thing. You're going to flip over, and you're going to do the same thing on the back of your wrist. You're going to work along the side. You're going to work your thumb muscle, and you're going to go in between the lymph channels and clean those out. And I'm going to tell you something. Your other hand, even if it was, this hand was screaming pain, you go and work on it. And look at some of you, I get it. You've got arthritis, inflammation of the joint. That's all that is. And you're going to go in here and you're going to go, oh, this hurts, this hurts. And if you can just not run from the pain, but breathe the Lionheart breath and just stay with it. And guess what? I have people that will say, you know what, Dr. Wolf, when I was doing it, it was so painful. It brought tears to my eyes. And when I finished, I had my life back.
Right. It does hurt. It does hurt. So just
well, guess what? It hurts because guess what?
I'm just giving disclaimer.
No, it hurts because it got hurt. It hurts because you ignored it. It hurts because you did drugs. It hurts because you didn't ever take massive personal action and love it. You do understand that every cell in my wrist, in my hand, anywhere in my body has an emotional body. You know what? Did you ever stroke an area of your body that was in pain? It feels better. And you know why you get a certain dis-ease in your body is because of toxic emotions and toxic lifestyle. And the reality is, listen to me, Monica, let's say that me and you are lovers, okay? And I'm only saying it because you're right here. And the reality is guess what? Every time that you have a problem, I ignore you. Or when you're speaking, I don't really give you the respect. When your body is creating swelling, inflammation, stiffness, or pain, it's communicating to you. This is a GPS that is asking for attention because this area is either getting calcified, scar tissue formation, or it's getting crystallized. And guess what? There's not a pain in your body anywhere without a physical block that wasn't caused from an emotional block. I can prove this if people don't want to just write me off right away. And the reality is this. You have your disease, dis-ease, which ought to ease in that area of the body, is an emotional and physical problem. And it's saying, just like a Visa card, you did not show enough love and respect in that area of the body, and you didn't know better. Wow. I get it. I get it. Wow. But the reality is guess what? Monica, have you ever been in a relationship that you were ready to break up with the person, and you know what? Just had enough. You had enough. Yes. And that's when the body says, I'm giving up, and it's time for your spirit to fly, baby. Okay, exactly. You need to do a rewrite. Okay, and you're coming up sideways. Why is she coming up sideways?
I think it's because I have to plug my the battery. The battery is.
Turn your phone around. There you go. Is it better? Thank you. Yep. Yeah, okay. And if your phone's going to die, plug it in. I can't hear you. Okay. Can't hear you.
Yeah, okay, now you should be able to. Can you?
I can hear you, and if your phone's dying, plug it in, love.
I just did that. Yeah, that's why we were having a little trouble. I had to get my. We're good now.
I know, and it's all fantastic. Okay, so I need everybody to understand something, and then we will finish off, and we'll let Monica finish the show. Here's the deal, and I need you to get this, and it's as simple as this. All the love in my heart, let me tell you something right now. Your body's a Visa card. If you want to keep on drawing energy from it, and you want, as a Visa card, you're going to draw money out of it, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get some notices. that you have not been making payments. They'll be written or digital or some kind of communication from Visa. For your body, it's going to be swelling, inflammation, okay, pain, or stiffness.
That's the interest, the high interest,
1 second.
right?
The high interest isn't coming yet. Here's the deal. These are just love messages. You call them symptoms, but they're not. You know what? We'll talk about this another day, but guess what? There is no sickness. There is only the body trying to get well. Did you hear what I said? There is no sickness. There's only the body trying to get well. And guess what there is? There is a sickness. And what is that? Sick beliefs. People with sick beliefs get sick. People with healthy beliefs do not get sick. And understand something. I will prove it. And you know what really how I piss off the powers to be? Because I say I'll never have a disease or a cold or a flu. You know, who makes that commitment? I can.
I do.
I can. And I don't get sick. You'll never see, oh, where is he? He missed a show because he was sick. Okay. Oh, where is he? Oh, did you hear he got diagnosed with MS? He got diagnosed with cancer. Are you kidding? My father passed on with leukemia. My mother passed on with lung and tongue cancer. Okay. And I always thought until I finally woke up, because there is no genetic diseases. Thank you very much. And then somebody says, well, that's not true. They've discovered that it might be 10%. No, we can rewrite our DNA. We are spirit beings. End of story. I'm not falling for it. I already know it. I've been at this for 40 years. 40 years.
40 years.
And guess what? Even if I'm as dumb as a stump, I can visually see what happens to people. So now we're back to the Visa thing, and here's the deal. So now guess what? They're telling you that they're recalling your card. Okay? So what do you need to do? It's called front-end loading. You need to nutritionally, physically, and emotionally tell that area of the body, I apologize. Because that area of the body is made out of live cells. And did you know that every cell has a spine, has a heart, has a emotional being? It has a nervous system. It has everything that you have. It's just miniature. And did you know that, guess what? When you do surgery, if you don't believe me, why don't you go do homework? That cell will actually thicken the outside layer to protect itself against a terrorist. So if you get inflamed, the cell thickens, the outer layer of a cell will thicken if you're too inflamed. That stops the oxygen and nutrition coming in, and you create swamp water inside, and then you create problems with your mitochondria. But it says, I need to shut down. There's a terrorist outside. So you might want to think about how much you eat and act like the majority. But here's the deal. Just as they want to cut your card up, you're getting cut up by who? Surgery. And guess what? You were ignoring to make the payments of the card, but now you can't ignore it anymore. And how did you ignore your body? Well, you took painkillers. You did, and painkillers, guess what they do? And I'm not tearing down the system. Go use the system as much as you want. The reality is when you take a painkiller, you didn't get rid of the inflammation. Didn't get rid of the pain. The cells are still in pain. 1 second. I got to finish this. Please, just let me finish, because I need people to understand this. You didn't numb it. What happened was drugs cut off the actual message from the area that's screaming so that it doesn't reach the brain. So now, even though the inflammation is still raging, which is the fire, what does a fire do? It dehydrates. So now you're going to get dehydration of the tissues, and you're going to get calcification, because now the pH is dropping, and we're going to pull calcium from the bones that are near the area. So now we're going to calcify the area, and now it's going to become like beef jerky, because the more that you leave something on the barbecue, you're going to dehydrate it like beef jerky. And here's the problem. So now we've got beef jerky, calcified area. And that's why now, guess what? Now they're going to cut that out. Now, what if, because the only thing that's missing is the life force energy of the lymph, the blood, and your actual spirit cannot flow through that tissue. Now people go, what a crock. He doesn't even know what he's talking about, spirit through a tissue. Okay, I live in Ixtapa, Zihuatanejo, and the actual walls here are made out of cement. They're this thick. If I stand on that side of the wall and you try to call me, I'm not going to be able to pick your phone call up. If I come in front of the window that allows the light to come in, I can pick up your call. If you have an area of the body that's too calcified and it's beef jerky, where what happens is all of the fibrin and cells in your body, guess what happens? Because of the histamine, adrenaline, and cortisol, and because it's acidic, it's like super glue. It jams everything together, and then guess what happens when you dehydrate? Now I've got a knot in my neck. I've got a knot in my breast called a fibroid. Okay, I got prostate problems. Okay, I've got a knee that's so stiff right now. They have to do surgery. I've got a hip that they have to cut the whole hip out. And you know, when people come to us, they go, I'm bone on bone in my knees, and I'll go, guess what? We'll work on you. We'll do the non-surgical, and if there's a Cellsonic there, which we have, we'll do a Cellsonic, and guess what? Surgery's canceled. I haven't had anybody go to surgery with a knee problem or a hip problem in years. And I know that you think that I'm lying to you, but I don't need you to come here. Go for your surgery, take your drugs. I will give you the first Cellsonic and the first non-surgical treatment free. And if it's not what you want, then you can leave. And I have to do that because I make really big claims, which makes me a snake oil salesman. But what if it was true? What if it was true that somebody that they say is bone on bone in their hip, they're actually not bone on bone, but there's so much calcium that's now caught in the cartilage, and when they go to do an x-ray, it looks like they're bone on bone. And what if we could get the calcium back into the bones and we could bring back the life force to the tissues? So reality is this. If you don't want your Visa card cut up and taken away from you, which is your body, then all you got to do, and if you haven't made payments for years, this is why I tell people you've got to do the best. Don't do supplements, do nutraceuticals. And then you've got to do front-end loading. Well, how much is it going to cost me? Well, I've got people that I say, I'll be honest with you. We need to do about 3 months to 6 months of front-end loading to bring up the vibration, bring up the nutrition, because that's all it is. And then I've got to have you think differently and drink differently and eat differently. Do you want to do it? Okay, I really do talk to people and try to not make them go to us. And if they still want to come to us, I've told them that I don't believe we can just turn it around with what you want us to do. I'm not going to play Inky Dinky Snitchel House and then give you a promise. And the reality is it's not fair. It's not fair to all the natural health people out there that everybody will go everywhere else and then go to them, and then they get blamed. They get blamed if something isn't successful. I have done everything I can to protect me and my practitioners by giving my guide away free, by giving you a free library, by doing Q&As, by not hiding anything or hiding away in the basement. I'm telling you that your body is a self-healing mechanism, and the only thing I sell is not supplements, but high vibrational nutraceuticals. Because we are frequency light beings. Monica, how would you like to close the show?
I think no, I think this is something that we all need to be open for, and I'm looking forward to this coming back to perfect healing. And it's already it's already been nothing short of a miracle. Or actually, what I should say is what we consider now a miracle is actually the reality of our bodies. And I personally am looking forward to more of this experience on the rest of my being.
I want to thank you for your bravery. And I mean that because, you know, people don't realize that they give people more courage than I can give them. Because you're a real person with a real healing. I'm just a guy, and because I'm in the health business, I'm up to something. So we don't know what it is, but he's up to something. And all I want to do is not call people out, but call them up, because the greatness is inside of us, all of us. Thank you, Monica.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Have a beautiful day, sweetheart. And I do mean that. Call me when you need me. Okay?
Love you.
Love you too, girl. Bye now. I want to thank everybody for joining me. I'm going to be coming on with Tora in a few minutes. And Tora actually has the same thing that I do, and it's called a 5-star health and healing retreat. And she has 2 of them in Australia. And I'm in Ixtapa, Zihuatanejo. And this is about treating, but also moving into training. So everything that I do, we teach. We can teach anybody. You know what? That which we call source, creator, God. I'm going to tell you something. If somebody's talking to you and you don't understand what they're saying to you, then it's not true. If you read my Perfect Day Guide, you go and watch any of my master classes in my library, you're going to find out that it's all just so logical. 1 and 1 are 2. Okay? And I just want you to fall in love with you. I want to thank you for joining me. Have the best day of your life. And we'll see those who want to join us in a few minutes. We're going to be talking about how we take health to the next level.